Hi guys, ArchieLuxury on the ArchieLuxury channel. What do we do? What do we do? The problem is, guys, guess what? Guess what, guys? The inflation rate is now in America 7%. The CPI, Consumer Price Index, prices have risen over a 12-month period 7%. 7%. That's pretty damn high. The problem we've got is, guess what, guys? The problem is, that's the official inflation rate. Everybody knows the actual inflation rate is usually a little bit higher. That's correct, guys. So we're probably got an inflation rate of about 10%. Okay, that's great. Now, what do you do, guys, if you've got $1 million? The problem is you put that into a term deposit, you're going to be earning less than 1%. So in reality, you're going to be losing 9% a year. This is serious. Do you buy real estate? Well, real estate prices are pretty high and it's on ledger. People can put a lien on it. They can put a caveat. They can do all sorts of things. Ex-wives, wives know about it. It's kind of public. Lawyers can search for it. Then the next investment is maybe we have shares. Well, guess what? Share market, very, very on the boil. On the boil, and we've got problems with it's also on the ledger, on ledger, not off ledger, on ledger. So what can you do if you want to hide a little bit? Maybe you're planning to get divorced in the future. Maybe your marriage isn't the best. Maybe you want to have some emergency cash to run away. Now, the problem is, if we've got inflation, 7% officially, 10% in reality, it's going to lose its spending power unless we put it into something. What is an off-ledger asset that will at least keep pace with inflation, if not rise? Luxury watches. Luxury wrist watches. That's right, guys. Let's think about this. You've got 100,000 US dollars you want to keep for your escape. Maybe you can't stand that wife of yours. Maybe you've got some nasty creditors that are after you. Maybe. I don't need to tell you the reasons. What is a great off-ledger investment? So, what would I recommend? What would I recommend? And I've got to tell you, my recommendations are thought out, and let's have a look. So what would I do? You want to put a bit of money aside there. Well, you'd probably want to keep 10,000 in cash anyhow, because you'd always need a bit of money to fake off if the shit hits the fan. 10% in cash. Then the rest of it, what would I buy? Now, I gotta tell you, what's the two big brands in watches? The two biggest brands, Rolex and Patek Philippe. Rolex and Patek Philippe. Now, what would I buy? Okay, in the Rolex sector, Rolex has always been Rolex Steel Sports. Rolex Steel Sports. And what I tend to do is, if I had a bit of money I wanted to invest in, I would stay off Class A Rolex. Class A is the hyped, the super hard to get the really hyped watches, I would be going for B and B plus. Now let me explain. So what is A? A is all the super hyped. We're talking the Hulks, the Sermon, Pepsi. We're talking Panda. Okay, that's a class A. We're talking Daytonas. Daytona. Class B would be Steel Sports. However, some of the less hyped. For example, I'm wearing my Milgauss. Yes, it's over retail, but it's not over retail like an Oyster Perpetual Tiffany. It's not over retail like a Panda. So, let me say to you, the honest truth is, if you want to put some money, I'd put it in non-hypey sports steel Rolex. What about two-tone? Two-tone's okay. Always, if you can get a reasonable deal, it's okay. But I would predominantly say steel sports, non-super hyped. The Pepsi is an example of a really hyped watch. Whereas the black is good, but it's got potential. Same as the Explorer 2. I think an Explorer 2 has amazing potential. Whereas a Pepsi is already super hyped. Okay, so that is on the Rolex front. What about, I mentioned Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe. And what I've invested in myself is not the Nautilus or the Aquanaut. That horse has bolted. They are super high, super hot. But the Pateks, 90s, early 2000s, 2000s, and low teens are ideal investments. Pateks, the classic Calatrava, little bit soft, huge potential. 5196, huge potential. 5127, huge potential. 5107, 5296, potential. The 6000, the 6006, potential. And I would also say some of the simply complications, world times, simple complications, and annual calendars. Huge potential. These are the greatest brand, Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe got potential. So those are worth taking a punt on. What else? The next layer is I honestly believe Lange and Sun. Lange 1, 1815. Datograph. There's some amazing complicated Langes and simple Langes that are good bang per buck. What else? Let's look at Vacheron. Stay away from Steel Sports Vacheron. That horse is bolted. But Patrimones. Many of the classic VCs, Vacheron Constantine's a good value. AP? AP's a time bomb. Stay away from AP. AP could bankrupt you in the repair bill. Very finicky. Don't like AP. Breguet. Look, Breguet is an enthusiast watch. For an investment, I'd probably say no. Stick to those core brands I've mentioned. Omega. I think the Moon Watch is probably the best. The Speedmaster, Man on the Moon, that sort of whether it's a first Omega in space, Speedmaster, yeah, they're okay. That core of watches is what I'd be putting my money into. Inflation, officially 7%. You want to put a bit of money off ledger? That's where I'd put it. I'd also be gearing up for a storm. The Fed could raise interest rates. Get rid of unnecessary consumer debt. Instead of getting a new lease on a car, just keep the one you got. Times batten down the hatches for some batten down the hatches for some hard times. That's what I would be doing in this market. So guys, my honest advice to you, Rolex and Patek Philippe, not the super hyped, second tier hyped. In Patek, non-sports classics, and Lange. Again, stay away from the Odysseus, that's so hyped it's not funny, but precious metal Lange, huge potential. We're heading for a bumpy ride. The good stuff will hold. Watches are now an asset class. They're an off-ledger asset which we can use to escape from this horrid mess the world is in. Guys, that is the advice. 7% inflation. Put your money, 10% in cash. The rest, invest in Rolex and Patek and Lange. That's the advice. Thank me after the storm has ended. I'm Archie Luxury. See you in the next one. Hey guys, Archie Luxury on the YouTube sensation, the Paul Pluta channel. Guys, I need you to help me out, guys. I can't survive on Google Ads alone. I need you to request a paid review. $50 US, look down in the description. $50 US, I will review your collection. I'll tell you what I think of it, and I'll give you some pointers. The other thing is, guys, you can sponsor me on Patreon. Patreon allows you to pay a couple bucks a month, $1, $2, $5, whatever you want, and it keeps me going on YouTube because, guys, I'm in a niche. Nobody can make money out of the views I get. The views are crap because it's a small specialized area, and I don't talk about garbage for the sake of views. Guys, sponsor me on Patreon, look down below, and I will see you in the next one.